Hi, Adam. Good morning. How are you?
Well, and you, Dana.
Thank you for joining me with Solving It with the Solutionist. This is my second podcast, and I'm really excited to have you on.
I am honored to be the second one. This is very, very
Thank
exciting.
you. Do you remember how we met, Adam?
It was definitely on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. My first guest I met on LinkedIn. My second guest I met on LinkedIn. And for me, it is incredible to have someone like you that I've met on LinkedIn. Do you meet many people on LinkedIn?
Oh, definitely. My network has grown over the years. Years and years ago, when LinkedIn first started, I had a friend of mine who was very into it. And I was like, social media, yeah, I don't know. LinkedIn now is literally a part of my daily check-in and really networking and working with people and finding new people and also spreading the word to help others. It's what you've done so well, has really blossomed into something that's become part of our daily existence.
I really appreciate that. A lot of people think that I use LinkedIn like Facebook and Instagram, and sometimes it's unprofessional, but I just love being real and authentic, and I have 20,000 connections. If I can make a difference when Toro is having fundraisers or anything is going on, or you've been honored for something, recognized, I want to spread it to as many people as possible, and I want to share what's going on. So for me, I really, really love LinkedIn. Many people don't get a chance to speak to a senior executive like you every day. Can you tell us a little bit about your current role as a vice president and chief financial officer?
Sure. Being a part, I'm the CFO and vice president at New York Medical College, which is a part of Touro University. Touro University is the largest institution of higher learning in the healthcare industry. We have slightly under 40 schools throughout the world, obviously mostly based in the United States. But we just recently opened a College of Osteopathic Medicine in Montana. That's something where there was lacking physicians, so Touro saw the need and wanted to help. And we are going to make doctors. That's what we do. I tell people we do that at New York Medical College. And what do you do? Well, we make doctors. But so my role as the CFO, I basically track all the money coming in and all the money going out. But that's
So
just
you're the bad guy.
sometimes I have to be the guy that says no. But I actually try never to just say no. We shouldn't be doing that, or we're not going to spend that. I want to explain to everyone why. There's always should be a reason. My role is to partner with everyone to make sure not only that we grow strategically, we invest where we should, but we also control and we make sure that we have a long-term plan. And obviously, we have to make sure that the money comes in from all different facets. That is New York Medical College and Touro. Be it from fundraising, as you're very much involved in all different areas and schools and institutions, to tuition dollars, to endowment money, to research grants, things like that. We have an incredible dynamic grants area where something that many people don't even realize is everyone gets the flu shot pretty much, right? So where is that vaccine? Where's the recipe for that come about? Part of that's at New York Medical College. So we make millions upon millions of vaccines that come from New York Medical College. So I joke around with people, when I get the flu shot, it's really fresh.
Wow, that is amazing. I didn't realize you were involved in so many different things. That is truly amazing how much of an impact they've made. So my next question for you is, what would you say has been the biggest changes, possibly challenges, for CFOs of the past versus CFOs today?
So the role I have found over my years has changed. When I first started in accounting and in finance, a lot of debits and credits and recording and making sure that each dollar is, while it's very, very important, and we have a team of people who record every single dollar that is recorded properly and reported properly to all institutions, both inside and out. My role has suddenly become more and more of the partner, is really a storyteller, someone who can take all these numbers, massage them to be presentable to anyone to really understand. Like when I said earlier when we first started, sometimes I have to say no, but to say no and explain why. And when we're doing a budget for the institution, there's many different facets that everyone's got this, goal. And we have to take all those goals and all those plans and put it together to see what is it as an institution. What direction do we want to go in?
Very interesting.
Where does our focus want to be this year, next year, the year after? Triage what's going on. So sometimes we may say that's an incredible idea, not right now. Or if
I don't handle not right now very well. Working on that.
Everyone wants to do it, but they also need to understand we are all part of a greater good. And together is what makes the greater good work. I have the ability and also, and I sometimes say the luxury of seeing the entire picture of where everything is. And if someone is faltering, we're not going to just put them out there. We're all going to team together and say, well, how can we make sure that we can fix that or overcome that hurdle? And that's where we as an institution come together and we as senior leadership do. And they look to me in the finance role to really help them with that and partner with that.
That's great. That's amazing. So, as you know, I have an over 30-year career solving technology challenges. And I'm always curious to ask someone in the C-level spot, do you feel that technology has helped or hindered you in different areas of your business?
It is an incredible help. When I first started as a junior accountant, I had the green ledger paper. And obviously every transaction was recorded and you had to flip the page and at the end of every single week and every single month, you had to start tallying things up by hand. I got very good at the 10 key. I can still to this day, key in a whole list of numbers without looking at the number pad, and to really tally. And now between, I remember Lotus 1, 2, 3, so it became Excel and everything that we were able to do and all the reports to have an enterprise system at Touro University to be able to run reports in real time, to understand what's going on, to be able to report to your constituencies, to your deans, directors, to everyone, to give them that real time. How are we doing? It's an incredible advantage that we have these days. Obviously, there's so much more. We all say, being part of technology, we're exposed to that much more, that quicker, and we understand what our competition is doing that much quicker. We really have to stay ahead of the game. We have to stay on top of things, keep our finger on the pulse of where things are. And it's my job is when the chancellor or the president say, how are we doing? I need to have that answer because we need to make a change.
Immediate.
Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday.
Sometimes unfortunately, we have to do it yesterday.
Like yesterday. So let's talk a little bit about how you have the work ethics that you have. I remember you telling me a story about your father, who was a self-employed architect, and telling a story on instruction manual. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And you're smiling. And, I've commented how many times about those teeth and how do you get them so white? I'm sure that's never come up in an interview, but my, oh my, look at those teeth. But in all seriousness, tell me a little bit about your father and how it impacted your life.
Well, firstly, my parents paid for every single orthodontic treatment there is out there. I had, you name it, I had it. So, and thank God it worked for me very, very well. Yes. So my father, who is an architect, he's still working. He does less number of jobs than he used to, but he not only is an architect, but he's also an artist, very talented, and he will think outside the box. I've been told that he's a right-handed, but he thinks as a lefty.
Interesting.
So whenever we were like building something and putting something together when I was younger, I would say, Dad, here's the instruction manual. The instruction manual is just someone's opinion on how to put it together. To that day, I still remember him saying that. And I still use that because actually, when you think about it, he was right. While yes, this goes into this, but there's never just one way to solve a problem. There's always another way of looking at it. And because sometimes when you're coming up to a problem, you hit a roadblock. Okay, which way am I going to go, left or right? If I go right, what's going to happen? If I go left, what's going to... My father was always a think outside the box person. And while my personal, I'm a very rigid person, and being an accountant, I always like things in order. I do try to dabble in his artistic world a little bit and try to think, what else can we do? What else should happen? And in business, that's very important to be able to have. And also, just to incorporate what else is very important in business, being as a side hustle, I'm an EMT. I'm a volunteer EMT. I've been doing that for over 30 years.
Yes.
That has helped me a lot in terms of remaining calm in an emergent situation. Maybe
I should volunteer for that as well.
I was been on unfortunately times when a patient was just not doing well, and someone who was helping me out said, "Oh my God, I think he's going to stop breathing," and I had to look at them, and I just said, "And if they do, we know what to do. Just take step by step." So in a case where things are hitting the fan, things are going, oh my gosh, okay, remain calm, take your own pulse. And that's what the EMT is always taught. Take your own pulse first.
I love that. Take your own pulse. So I know you talked about calming down. I know you're very serious about your workouts. Is that something that helps you to escape the roles, the responsibilities, and the demands of your job? So tell me a little bit about that, how you love to escape with your workouts.
I think you and I have that in common, as we've seen.
Absolutely.
Yes, you have Peloton and you've done your workouts and
absolutely.
So yes, it is, and I think you'll agree. It not only is it physically, feels good to be healthy, to take care of yourself, but it's also mentally allows you to just
absolutely,
it's become, and I've told people have asked me, when you try to work out regularly, don't you, Adam? I said yes. I said, and it's really 50-50, 50% physical, 50% mental. And it really gives you that opportunity just to take a step back and clear your mind and focus on you and focus what's next. And sometimes, in between sets, you get to have a moment of clarity of what's going on and what you need to do. Be it a problem that needs to be solved, be it what order, or a new initiative, or what would a dean or director like to see? How can I help these people? How can I truly partner with them? And
it's interesting. I call it stinking thinking. And when I'm on the Peloton or with my trainer or pull-ups, push-ups, whatever it is, that's all gone. You're so in the moment that you can't even go there. And I call it stinking thinking. And it's interesting. You say it's 50-50. For me, it's like 90-10. The Peloton for me is such a mental workout, such an escape. It's me time. It's the only time that I'm not providing solutions. And you talk about your dad and thinking outside of the box. And years and years ago, they were giving out business cards, and the office manager said to me, "What's your title? Account rep? Senior this?" I said, "The Solutionist." And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "I've been doing this for years and years and years. And what sets my soul on fire is creating solutions, whether it's solving a technology challenge, whether it's my fundraising, whether it's with my daughter, it's just creating solutions." And when you talk about that with your father, that the instructions is just one person's idea of how you put that together. But there might be 10 different other ways. And I find that very interesting. You mentioned fundraising. We have to talk about this. You recently spoke on the power of mentoring. I said fundraising, I meant mentoring, to a group at the Jewish Business Network. What were 3 key takeaways from that talk?
Well, what was very interesting is I was able to, like, firstly, the Jewish Business Network is a great, group of people that get together to really share ideas on a regular basis. And in this case, given my background and given where I work, mentoring in the medical field, and then we have a dental school, one of the newest dental schools in the United States on our campus, and we find that mentoring is so important, especially in the medical field. We have 2 years of didactic and then 2 years of clinical. The clinical is so key to really do hands-on. When I was in EMT, we don't just you don't take your training and then go out into the field and start taking care of people. You observe and then you back up and then you become a primary to the point where you can go on a call because you've worked so closely with other people. And firstly, mentoring is important because not only is it that you're getting advice from people who have been doing things for so long, they will give you all the tricks that they've learned. And very often they love to do that because we've seen that how doctors work with their students, and they'll say, by the way, this tool, if you hold it this way, it'll be so much easier. And if you're working on a patient, if you rest part of your hand on their chin, like in a dentist, if they move, your entire hand won't flip, or you won't stab them or anything like that by accident. There are all these little tricks that you learn from working one-on-one with a mentor. And not only do doctors appreciate being able to hand over the information that they've gained for the next generation, they also like to say, it's good for them. Suddenly you have a doctor, everyone goes to, oh, my doctor's the best, my doctor's the best. To be able to say, my doctor teaches, wow, that's suddenly at a whole different level.
So Adam, I've mentored most of my career, and I always say, who gets more out of it, the mentor or the mentee? I always learn, grow, evolve, even though I don't have a lot of patience at all. And I mean patience, as opposed to the patience that you guys have. I have to have patience all the time. I may say to someone I'm mentoring, let's start with the vision board. Put it out there in front of you. What are your goals? Let's do personal. Let's do physical. Let's do financial. Let's do your career. You're single. When do you want to be married? Maybe you want to never get married. Do you want to have everything? Put it on a vision board. I'm going to follow up with you in a week. Let's see how that's going. A week later, how's that vision board? Oh, I've been busy. Oh, I didn't know what you meant. I didn't have time. And I'm saying to myself, what am I doing this for? I've given them homework. They're not taking this serious. What exactly do they need from me? What do they want from me? And then I start saying, wait, this isn't about me. It's about them. I shouldn't have expectations. I need to let them grow and evolve and have their own wings whenever they're ready. And so I'm always learning. And I had a situation recently where I was mentoring someone and it backfired completely. But I realized, what is it about me? What am I taking about myself into this experience? My past, my present, what I want in the future, and what is it about them? So do you find when you're mentoring, sometimes you bring a lot of your own stuff into it?
Yeah, I think there's a song, I believe it's called. Are
you going to sing for us?
No.
Come on.
That's not my forte, but I think it's called "Wear Sunscreen," where it's like a speech given at graduation, where it's given advice. The most salient advice is, no matter what's been proven in science, is wear sunscreen, but everything else is just things that they offer. So don't read fashion magazines. So things like. But one of the things is take advice is really just people's experience, brushing off the bad parts and really handing you all the good parts. And it's so important to try and take that in. Obviously, you have to
I remember that. I remember that was so many years ago, and I remember listening to it. Now what I do every morning is I go when I'm driving to Starbucks or dropping the puppy off at doggy daycare, which we do 3 days a week. I say to Siri, motivational podcast, and the most fabulous stuff comes on. I'm going to send you one that I listened to on determination this morning, and I think it's so important to listen to a lot of, especially the graduation ones. They're just incredible when they're standing in front of all these kids who are graduating college and they're going off into the real world and the impact that these speeches have. So we've talked a little bit about your mentoring. We've talked a little bit about your working out. Now we're going to talk about your very demanding position as a CFO, a father, and a grandfather, mazel tov. And how do you balance? What advice do you give to someone to balance your professional and personal life? Is there such a thing as balance?
So I think we both know when it's very important to work hard and make sure your career goes ahead so you can not only, reach your own goals, but also provide and really help not only, help yourself, help your family, but help the next generation and help this world. But at the same time, we also know we work very hard so that we can have that time with family, so we can spend that, so we can sit back and we can look and appreciate our family. And that is very, very tough sometimes to hit pause. In the Jewish faith, being part of the Jewish religion, we have Sabbath. And what's good about, Sabbath and Shabbat is sometimes you just have to, you must hit pause. You have to hit pause Friday at sundown until Saturday sundown. There's, for the modern Orthodox, there's no TV, there's no computer, there's no iPhone, there's no distraction. You're focusing on pretty much your family and just sitting around the table and going to synagogue and it's such a nice way of saying, I don't have a choice. I have to focus here. During the week, we're all doing stuff. Suddenly you have that opportunity to really focus and appreciate. It's an incredible, and people do it in their own way. However observant or not, it's so important to sometimes just hit pause. 2 weeks of vacation a year is really not enough necessarily, because you and I both know when you go on vacation, you still every so often looking at your phone because you know that the emails are backing up, things like that. It's really, really nice. If you can, every week or so, find some way to hit pause and find that balance. To me,
find a way of having Shabbos. So for those that don't exactly know what Shabbos is, you light candles at the beginning of Shabbos.
Correct.
And one thing that I've always told my daughter is you're shining that light on you, yourself, and your family. When you're lighting that candle, that's what truly matters. You're shining on what really, really matters. And you're putting darkness and shutting off everything else that really doesn't matter. The phone, the TV. For someone who's been a workaholic for most of my life, Shabbos is a time where that's all irrelevant. And you're shining the light on your family, your grandchild, children, your loved ones, and you're surrounded by them. And it's a time to just disconnect from everything that really is not the most important thing.
My fiance, I see her, Lisa, she works very hard, and thank God she's successful, up until the point where she lights candles. She's going. She lights candles and she exhales. And suddenly it's like, okay, now I can not only, I've brought light into the family, I've brought light into the house, and I've just moved my entire self into this next realm of being able to focus differently and focus love and really where we are. Not forgetting about all the business that has to happen, because you know what? When sundown comes the next day, we're back. So
Adam, I don't know if you hear my dog barking in the background, but it's a whole new world working from home. Did you hear her barking in the background?
I did not, but
So we've talked earlier about joking around how people get ready for Zoom meetings. And I remember at the very, very beginning, I was on a Teams meeting and someone got up and we realized that they had just finished working out and we were just praying when they stood up that they remembered to put something on the bottom. And it is just a whole new world. And every time I have an important meeting, I tell my husband, take the dog out. She's going to start barking. Oh no, she's laying on the couch. She's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Sure enough, 20 minutes into our podcast, and there we go. My dog is barking. Why? Because my daughter who's home from college, who was truly my most important accomplishment, just walked into the house, and she returns to college tomorrow and taking a piece of my heart with her. But you just mentioned fiance, and the last time we spoke, you were mentioning girlfriend. So do you have something to share with us?
Yes, I've gotten engaged.
Mazel tov. Was she surprised? I'm like speechless. I'm so excited for you.
Thank God. Yes, everything is very, very exciting now, and we're hopefully going to. Everyone, of course, Lisa always says, when people ask, they say, when are you getting married? I said, everyone wants to know when we're getting married. She goes, of course, that's the logical next question. Don't worry about it. We're going to set the date soon, but it's thank God everything is really, really good.
Oh, it sounds like everything is so incredible. So I just have one last question for you before we wrap this up. Based on your experience as a business leader for multiple organizations, what one suggestion would you have for someone who is up and coming in the business world?
So I remember when I first started working at the 92nd Street Y, part-time when I was still in college, and then they hired me full-time. I was a junior accountant and then a senior accountant, and then I was a controller at age 25. The one thing that I learned that was so important was try to do as much as possible. Take on every single role, learn every single role. I was hired as a junior accountant, and the cash receipts manager had to go out on sick leave. Well, I said to the controller, I said, instead of hiring someone, let me stay late and I'll do their work. I'll sit with them before they go out and I'll do it. And I did. And they saved money, and I learned that aspect. The same thing happened when the accounts payable manager went out on pregnancy, family medical leave. So I said, I'll do that. Let me learn how to do that. And I learned, and I did it. I did every single job possible, so that when I became controller, I kind of knew what needed to go into everything and what aspects, all the little nuances. And to this day, I still use that knowledge. I'm the CFO. I'm not about to do every single job. I can't necessarily do what the bursar does and what the registrar does and what purchasing does and what the restricted funds area does and what budgeting does and what the controller does with her team. But that I understand conceptually at this point all different aspects of how the money flows and how everything goes in and how I can make their job much more successful and then partner with everything else. Learn as much as possible early on. Read everything, do everything, and that will stick with you throughout.
So, Adam, I thought I was going to wrap up with that one question, but as you're talking and as I'm thinking how we originally met, and it was actually in 2019, right before the pandemic, and we did meet on LinkedIn. What advice would you give for someone who's trying to get a meeting with someone who's C-level? Would you suggest that they call? Would you suggest they send a letter? Do you think they should hire a cute marketing company with a little shoe that says, help me to get my foot in your door? Or what do you think? I mean, for me, who's formed partnerships in about 5.8 million from LinkedIn, I met you, I met many other people. What advice do you give to someone who is trying to get a meeting with a C-level person?
So what you did so well on LinkedIn, you pretty much form relationships before you do the sales pitch. You really, and when I get someone on LinkedIn, and we all get this, a connection, and then boom, but I'd like to meet with you. Here's my information. I don't know them from Adam, but and also they want to pitch me something. Yes, there is that chance that it's something that we could really use at New York Medical College of Touro, and it might be a great fit, but it really doesn't resonate, and it really doesn't make that connection. What first makes the connection is, making that actual just connection. It's like networking event. First, you just start talking with people, And then you start, connecting. What do you do? What do you do? Things like that. You try to find what it is that I need that you could help with. You could find that solution for me. And for anyone on LinkedIn, to make that relationship, to make that, start having a conversation, just an easygoing. You start the hard sell right away. That's with everyone. It's very tough to do that because we're all really pressed for time. But you build a relationship over time, and suddenly, next thing you know, it's a partnership. And that's what's most important, especially with many, many vendors that we have. We feel that it's a partnership, that they understand what our needs are. They understand. You're looking always out for your clients, I'm sure. With
Absolutely.
And you can say, oh, you don't need these machines. These are the machines that will be better for you. Trust me, I'm going to save you money. And you are always on key, on point when it comes to that, what they will need. So I think
Appreciate that. Adam, it was amazing. Thank you so much for being my guest for my second podcast. This is absolutely incredible. We learned so much about you, about your incredible teeth, about your workouts, about how you have downtime with Shabbos, how you've recently gotten engaged. And it seems like you have really learned how to balance it all and how to thrive at a C-level place in life. And so I want to thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you're going to love the podcast as much as all of my followers will.
I have no doubt, and I'm sure they all look forward to be able to being in the car and saying, Siri, play me a podcast, and yours comes up.
I'm excited. Have an amazing day and incredible Shabbos. Bye, Adam.
Bye, Dayna.